Want some flying lessons? You came to the right spot. I'm not so sure my sanity is intact after watching this bird for so long. Anyway, we do have fun with him in the shop, except he eats everything. He eats shirts, he eats buttons. There's virtually nothing safe. There's nothing sacred in this shop. Nothing. Nothing is sacred when Freddy's here. Yeah, that's you, Freddy. That's you. Anyway, the last day or so, we've been waiting for all the coats of dope to dry up on this. It's been sitting up by a heating vent, in fact. You never want to force dry any of this with like a hairdryer or anything, or never put it out in the sun. You really would like it to dry as slow as possible, but in this case, our cellar is 62 degrees. And so that little blast of heat every once in a while helps dry the finish out. But anyway, you can see what's coming very soon. What's going to come is a cooked chicken or a cooked bird. Shut up! I can't wait for the day we put both of these bombers out on the deck. And I can't wait for the day summer's here. Now today, all this dope hopefully is dried up enough that we can sand it. I've got 3 really nice wet coats on it. Usually the test, you can tell, do this real quick, and you'll see powder. When you see powder, the dope's dry. Now I'm going to just very gently sand this. I'm not going to start grinding away at it. This is 320 or 400. It's soft anyway. I want to get most important of all of the edges, all the corners. So this is going to be a little time consuming. But every time I put dope on or I sand it, I want to get those corners and edges. And as soon as I'm done sanding the whole thing out, we'll be ready. Actually, we get another coat on this, one more coat, and it'll be ready for tissue. The thing is, what I'm trying not to do now is not to go through in any spots. I just want to kiss that off and just get the dust off, and it'll be ready. Very light sanding with very light paper. It's really not a sanding, it's a defuzzing more than anything else, but the powder is what tells you when a dope is ready to dry. 1 day is usually all it takes. Now, because we've already sanded this out and we already have broken all the edges down, now the trick is going to be, I want to go out over the fillet, again about 1/8 of an inch if I can, with a smooth, just maybe 1/8 of an inch out, so I have some dope in the fillet area. This sanded out beautifully, by the way. It really gets here, well, it gets me excited anyway, when I see it's starting to look like an aeroplane. Because for about a year, actually, it's been nothing but parts and different little sub-assemblies, but now it's really starting to look like an aeroplane. Now I'm hoping this is going to be the last coat, because the only purpose really of even putting it on, this coat on, is going to be to try to any spots that we've really gone through, so we don't have any chance there's going to be a dry spot. And this coat will not get sanded unless we find some real compelling bad spot. And once this dries up, we'll hopefully be able to tissue this. Now the key thing here is, just like when I did on the first coat on the last video, is get it on. Don't fool with it. Don't try to put on a skimpy little baby coat. Get it on. You're going to put dope on? Only so much is going to soak into the wood. The rest will sit on the top. When you see what amounts to be a little bit of a shine on the top, you know you've got enough. Kind of tells you when it's ready. And once you know how to define that, the rest of it will be really, really easy. Bob Brookins is always harassing me that one of my coats is equal to 10 of his or 5 of his or anything, and he is a professional master painter, but I'm still doing it the old-fashioned way. Put it on and quit fooling around. Okay, let me just show this up close. This is how a wet coat looks when you put a wet coat on. It's wet. Obviously, in brighter days.
Imran doesn't come off.
No, Imran doesn't come off.
Believe
this plane
me,
was
Imran does not come off.
You found even paint remover won't take it off?
No. Paint remover, acetone, paint remover. Yeah, you know what works is 5F5, that paint stripper.
Paint stripper, okay.
Paint that on, it softens up, but you're still forever just sanding away. But the worst part is the whole back of the plane was just held together by paint.
Well, the first thing we gotta do is put a new bottom on our fuselage.
Well,
we're gonna do a little restoration here in the next few days.
This is just...
But don't even worry about it.
This literally just crumpled off in my fingers.
Don't worry about it right now.
These pieces came out.
We'll make new formers for in there.
Once this is strengthened and this back here is replaced, it's fine.
You know they have that show on Rides? Have you seen Rides? And they have Junkyard Dog, Boyd Coddington's thing.
This is it.
This is our Junkyard Dog.
This is it, baby.
Well, I think
the nose is all rebuilt.
Okay. So the nose is what really counts.
The nose is, oh my God, it's great. Everything, I scraped everything down. Everything is down to the original formers. And then the original formers are done.
From here forward, we're not concerned with
From here forward is all, it's all been replaced.
Okay, and this back here, this will just be, this I'm going to work on.
That's just...
I'm not concerned with stripping this paint off.
No, I'll get the paint.
The paint is nonsense.
No, I'll get the paint.
It's
rebuilding the structure.
Okay.
No, the paint is nonsense.
Well,
the structure...
Let's lay it out in such a way that we could work on the fuselage first and see what we could do first.
Getting it back in one piece would be nice.
Well, we're going to do it. If Boyd Coddington can do that Junkyard Dog, there's no reason you and I can't do Junkyard Tradition here.
That is just...
Give you some idea about why I hate balsa wood fuselages. This is only 15 years old? 15? 86? No, it's 18 years old. Oh, it is older. Right, so the first thing we want to do is make the fuselage stable. Dave's going to make a replica former for in there. That'll be our first piece. You can see how these formers were in geodetically, of course. Way before there ever was a geo wing, we had a geo fuselage, and this was one of them. I can't believe how many flights were on this plane. This has really been a lot of flights. All right, so once we get in fact, you're going to need two formers back there.
Yeah.
Get the formers in, and then I'm going to try to do a little patch job on this fuselage side. That'll be the step 2, and then we got to start working on the back, cutting and fitting pieces, and then we'll just get a piece of new wood for the bottom and put a whole new bottom on it. Just like the sweeper from the video before, this paint is still not in bad shape.
No, it's not.
But you're better off if you get the whole thing down to raw wood. It's just easier to work on it. Yeah, just easier to work on it.
It comes off slow. I mean, you just take your time and it comes off. And
well, you got this one already done. This one, you could...
There's spots where it's down the wood, it's flat. And
you could start retissuing. Well, where you have the blue, this is the tissue,
right,
yeah.
And where you've got the brown, that's a flat spot where the sander...
I would say we should put all our effort into just fixing the body and not even worry about the paint on the wing and tail. That's...
But eventually it'll all come off. And
you know how old this plane is?
This history.
Plane is older than President Nixon. It's going to live to fly again.
When is that from?
1986.
Ooh, old plane.
Here it is in his glory day, 1987 concourse winner, 3rd place at the Nats. And here it is. Who would have thought this far into the future we'd still have it around? One new former in. Dave's making up the second one. And what we need this for is to stabilize everything, because otherwise this was just moving all over the place. Side.
You don't even have to, because if you look,
we need to get one straight edge, and then we'll cut this piece out and put another piece in there.
If you look, there's a joint. Now we'll just sand down to it.
Just sand down to it.
Yeah, there's a joint here.
You gotta be able to, I'll hold it. You don't need that piece of foam or anything. Just give me, because otherwise I can't match the other side. You know what I mean? I'll be working in midair. Midgely Coddington. Junkyard dog, baby. Okay. That's pretty decent. Okay.
It's not too bad.
Okay, now give me this height here with the stripper, and let's strip off a piece of wood. Figure that out. What is that, 1/4 of an inch? You gotta do this part up here too, so we can measure it. In other words, I want to know how thick that piece is. Just grind the whole thing right down.
Well, we don't want to take this, we don't want to grind it down to there, do we?
I just want a flat surface I can glue to. I can't glue to that. No, I'm not. Don't do the other side. Just do the one side. One side is all I want. And once we get one side, we can build the fuselage back to its normal shape. Then I can work on this other fuselage side. If you don't do that, you're never going to get that piece on. You know what I mean? You'll never have anything decent to glue it to.
I think this is going to be fine.
Okay. You know what I want to do? I want to make a piece for the back. We'll just strip it off and glue it on.
Right on top.
Right on top. Yep. Okay, you got that stripped off. Now see if it butts in there nice.
But of course.
Okay. Okay, now once you glue that piece in, you've got something to match the other side to. We could run the big plane along the whole fuselage side then. Okay, with that piece glued on, now just rub the block on it. Just see that we have one flat surface we can work with. That one okay? Okay, now we got to cut a piece out of this side. I want to put a new piece in here. This piece is kind of beaten up. I don't ever hear Boyd Coddington worrying about this stuff. Hey kids, get on there. Junkyard dog. They dipped the whole car in phosphoric acid. The whole car. I love it. Why can't you just dip this plane?
Oh, that's that 50-something Chevy there.
56 Chevy, yeah. I figure you were watching it.
I watched a couple episodes.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to take, since this piece is all ratty, I'm going to just using the ruler for a pattern.
I'd take it from here.
Take it from there out.
I'd take it from there to there.
Let's go up to the hatch line and then you're done. We'll make one piece. We'll strip off one piece that thickness, break away the formers, and then lay this piece in right to the very end. So we'll have one strip, the whole thickness, to replace that.
Okay.
Those pieces are off. Now you can see the piece we have to strip. We're going to strip a brand new piece of 1/8 inch, measure it out. Suggestion, leave it 1/8 of an inch oversized.
I'm going to strip it out wider.
Leave it oversized. Let it come all the way back right to here. And then we'll make a block in the back. And once you get that piece on there, then we're on the way to having it that we can work on it.
All right.
So now we have this piece roughly laid out on a piece of brand new piece of 1/8 inch. Just connect it. Take one of the big rulers. That's not going to be that any bigger. Take one of the big ones off the wall. Right off the wall. That'll let you lay this out.
It's got a real ruler.
Hard to believe. Junkyard dog. Okay. Just see if you got it. As long as it's big enough, we could sand the last little bit in.
Definitely big enough.
Okay, we'd like to glue all the way to the back. You agreeing with how I'm laying this out?
Sure.
Okay, it sounds like this is going to be very good.
The only...
What are you missing? All we care about is at the outside, you've got enough meat left that you can sand that in. Because this stuff, we can peel right off. You don't even have to worry.
Peel what off?
This paint.
Oh, that's
you
good.
just get under there.
Yeah, that's peeling right off.
If anything, it'll be lighter with all that paint missing.
I'm not even worried about that.
You got that side on. Formers are in. Now just, if you can, kind of eyeball it and see that you're even. Ultimately, we like to have this whole thing flat right up to the gear piece.
Well, it wants to come out and then drop down.
Just grind right into it. That's what that carbide is good for. Okay, we're into this an hour or so, and it's already a whole different animal, right? You feeling good about this, or?
I felt good about it when it fell apart in my hands.
No, I mean, we're seeing results right away. This is quick.
The only thing that I was worried about and concerned about was when this whole back end, literally, it just fell off.
Not worried about it.
Gone.
Here, this is your test. You see when you pick this up?
Oh, it's fine.
It's solid.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry from that point on. And all this cosmetic sanding, this is nonsense. Just get those two parallel so we can glue the bottom on. You want to see if get them as nice as they can be. You have the tail wheel, or are you going to have to make a tail wheel up?
I left it at home.
Okay, well don't worry about it. We'll make a new one. Make a new wire up, that's all. Okay.
It's actually...
Get it to where it's flat, and then we got to make a tail wheel up. We got that side kind of blocked out. Now we're getting rid of the whole back end. We're going to put a soft block back there, if we can. When the reason they're coming apart so easily is because you're not getting a bite into that oily wood. And the only trick I know of is just keep sanding and getting it, and then in the end we're going to fiberglass it. Okay, there's a piece of scrap there if you want to trace out that block. Trace out that little end piece.
Some things never change.
You can even make it a little oversized and then just use the block to get it even. Is the rudder in one piece?
No.
The rudder doesn't have to be replaced?
No, it's not in one piece.
Oh, we'll just make a new one then. Don't even bother fixing it.
I didn't bring it.
So day one comes to an end. We're a couple hours into this already. What do you figure, 2 hours?
Yeah.
2-3 hours?
Not even.
Not even, and we've got basically got the tail wheel even made up. It's over there on the table somewhere. There's the new tail wheel. We're going to grind away on this tomorrow, try to finish the bottom of the fuselage, the tail wheel.
The nose. Put a rudder on it. It should be all in one piece tomorrow.
Definitely.
And then we can get to filling dents and stripping paint.
But that part of it goes very quickly. That's the good thing.
No, it doesn't.
No, this
Not
goes.
this paint.
This goes quicker than you think.
Not this paint.
Where you got to make sure
It goes
is
slower than you think.
to get a nice straight line on this whole thing, so you don't have it. Just get the line done tomorrow and get that big block. Get a nice sand on it.
Yep.
All right, let's vacuum up. That's it. Party's over for today. The supervisor's checking us out over there. So we have what I hope is going to be all of the dope drying on that for now. Once Dave cleans up here, he's ready to work on that some more tomorrow. Live to fight another day. And boy, if there ever was a piece of stunt history, that's it. We're starting the day off. The first thing Dave had to do, because this wood, you can see how oil soaked it is, he put a piece of 64th plywood on the inside as a reinforcement.
That'll be fine.
And we're going to glue that, what amounts to be a whole brand new tail wheel. When you're dealing with a junkyard dog, sometimes you just have to make a new part. Then we're going to put a piece along the side to build up the thickness here so that we can get the bottom on. And you've been running the big sanding block from the nose to the back. Basically what we're looking to try to do is make one straight line, like the original plane head, and just leave a gap. Luckily the gear mount is solid as a rock. So hopefully that'll save us a lot of work not having to make another gear mount. The only trouble with this, it gets messy. But as soon as you can seal this fuselage up, then it'll be a lot neater of a job. I remember when Mike Rogers crashed his little BJ, and he says he's going to burn it or step on it and drive a car over it. And I said, well, let me take it home and fix it. And in an hour I had it ready to fly. And then he came over to the house and he was livid. Woo, you got it ready to fly. Can I have it back? No, it's mine. What we ought to do too, Dave, right here, once you put these little squares in, put a couple of pieces this way.
Yeah.
And you want to get the bottom of this with the grain going this way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We don't want to have like, you know, that all that technology.
I watched my windy videos years ago.
You've been a good boy, a good student.
I know all about that.
He's been a good student. You moved for Peanut this morning? Hey, he's fussy. He took all the buttons. I don't have a single button. If you look at my shirt, there's not one button left. He's eaten every button on this shirt. It's unbelievable. All right, so the tail wheel's next. Vacuum it. The easiest thing, just let it hang out over the table. This is all the junk's coming out of the plane. All the shavings and cuttings. And you may, I'm sure there's people right now thinking, why is he wasting all this time fixing an old plane? Well, we know this plane is in real good alignment. We know it flies relatively well. Got third place at the Nats. And after we take off this paint, it probably won't add much, if any, weight at all. And it'll just be a question of deciding how we want to refinish it. This is all the oil-soaked stuff that came off of it. The last little bit out. Put it on the floor. Put it on the floor. Put the nose on the floor. Now just tip it this way. Now you can get in there. What is he doing? The supervisor. Don't make him crazy. You're making him crazy. Ready that shit, torturing the bird. Now we're ready to start laying the strips in. You got that in place?
Yeah, go ahead.
There you go. Okay, just now start working your way up. For 6 inches at a time.
Yep.
And what we're going to do, we purposely left this sticking up just a little bit. We're going to sand this edge so we have a nice edge to work off. That's what we're striving for here anyway. Then we're going to take the whole plane and take it out to California and dip it in that acid bath to take the paint off. You know what might take this paint off? Drano.
Really?
Yeah. It takes a lot of...
Believe me, it doesn't come off.
No, I know. Imran's good stuff.
Well, I asked somebody, and they said paint thinner will take it off.
No,
And
absolutely not.
And I said, I don't think so.
Not the stuff I was using. And that was the stuff they made in the 80s. That was, the EPA wasn't invented yet or
I
something.
bet I've got 7 or 8 hours, at least, just taking the paint from where it is now.
We're going to try to improvise here. The best thing, of course, is if you had a roll with 10,000 sheets of sandpaper, but then it gets cost prohibitive.
Sandpaper doesn't work. It doesn't cut through.
No.
Once you get through the Imron, you can sand it.
Yeah, but it's... You throw so much sandpaper away that you may as well, you know what I'm saying? You may as well bite the bullet early on. Yeah, you could run a new piece, just run it up to that joint. Okay. So we're going to do the rest of this right up all the way to where the gear blocks are and then start filling in the back with pieces of 1/8 inch wood. Now you can see where the doubler ended here. Dave's going to grind a little bit of that away or chop it
We're
away.
going to grind a lot of that away.
And because we're really not going to get a good grip there, what I'm going to do is make a little doubler, kind of a doubler out of some 4-ounce cloth. Joint is I can make my little fiberglass patch in here, both sides, and then we're going to, when we're ultimately done, fiberglass the outside. That should contain that pretty well. Dave's vacuum it up, and what we're doing, we're trying to work from the back right to the front. I guess the next thing you want to do is finish those 2 stringers.
The strips all the way up.
Go right up to the nose. Go right up to the nose. Don't fool around. Because any gap here will fill out with air epoxy.
No, I'm not worried about that.
You fill it with air epoxy. That's no
that's
problem.
fine.
You work on the stringers, and I'm going to make those fiberglass patches.
Got it. What time is it?
Exactly where you want it. Just get the heat. That's, when a surface is that rough, you can't really glue a doubler to it, you know what I mean? And the rougher it is, the more tooth you have, so I think that's going to work out fine. So now you can continue the other strip. You got one on there. There was a big chunk missing there, so we just put a balsa block C8 in there. I carved that up.
We're just going to get it close.
And then we have one other piece to put on the front, and then we can start our sheeting. And we're going to start from the back and work our way up. Now, whenever you do this, it's best if you can get the sheeting cross-grain. Even though it's harder to sand it and whatnot, the strength you get from the cross-grain balsa is a lot better than if you try to do this in one sheet.
Quiet.
Dave has to basically take even the 2 sides so he can start laying in the cross-grain pieces. So what we decided to do, we put it up on our pad. I'm going to work from the landing gear forward. He's going to work from the landing gear back so we can try to make some time up on this part of it anyway. So just trim that and then take the sanding block, the last thing, and get it nice and level. You always look to see if you have a dip in it.
It's looking good.
Okay.
I need a smaller block to get underneath. Down by the tail.
Okay. And I'm going to try to sand some of this. Same thing up here is get this flat before we make the cross pieces. Remember, the smaller of a block you'll use, the more chance there is you'll put a bow in it. The first piece of sheeting on there. Now when you cross grain it, it's even better if you put it on a 30-degree angle. The angle of choice is 30 degrees. If you want to know about any geodetic structure, 30 degrees is where it gets its best strength from. You got one piece on there ready? Then we'll put the gear in place and make these two little, yeah, that's good. This is really the really best way to do it is with the 30-degree grain. And the worst way is to have the grain going front to back. Oh, well, Dave's working on that. I've been sanding down this side of the nose, trying to get this level. I need to get this piece level, smoothed out some, and then I'll start putting on the sheeting on the front. Dave's trimming off all the extra.
Just trim it and then sand it.
Put your one little piece up here too. I basically took all the finish off this and put this back to real wood, just so we can get a look at it.
Isn't that nice?
Rub your hand on it. That feels like the contour
great.
we're looking for.
It's the same as before.
Yeah, pretty much the same as before.
Yep.
All right, now I'm going to work on the other side. As soon as you're done trimming back there, I'll
Go ahead
flip
and
it.
work on it. Oh, you're going to flip it over?
I got to flip because I can only work with one hand. So everybody has something that gets them to work a little faster and a little harder. In Mike Kajeski's case, we put the Fiddler on the Roof video on.
Yeah, we don't need that.
We don't need tradition. One thing I've noticed that since Freddie's taken over the supervision of this job, Boyd Coddington the bird. Uh-oh, there goes your shirt. Kiss that shirt goodbye.
Hey.
But here's the secret to getting Midgely to do a decent day's work. It's called coffee. I've spiked his coffee with Windy Cream, the famous Windy Cream. One side of this is already done. We're working on the second side. This side is coming in real nice.
With my buttons.
We're trying a lot of different ways. What, is he abusing you?
Hey.
Oh, the buttons are toast. If he finds out you have
buttons.
a button on your shirt, you're toast. But she's going to find a button down there, and then it's goodbye buttons.
He is.
He's checking out those buttons.
Good.
Too bad we can't figure out how to get him to sand. Have the coffee and let's go into high gear here. Boyd, there goes your buttons. Check this out. There goes the buttons. Check this. Oh, he wants coffee. Give him a little coffee. Come on. Coffee time? Coffee break? All right, so Dave has got this while I was making the coffee. He got this all sanded in nice. We're ready to start on the same piece. We have to just put a gear in here, make the little gap, and then figure where we're going to get this piece out here.
This isn't coffee. This is chocolate and milk that tastes like coffee.
Windy Cream.
Yeah. I'm out.
Ow! We tried a lot of different ways of getting this paint off, and Dave is finding out the same thing I did. Is the easiest way is get a razor underneath it. And even though you take it off in chips and little drips and drabs.
Oh, that's how it was coming off easy before.
Because this is Imron and it's almost 20 years old. I did most of the nose just by getting a blade underneath it and taking maybe a 64th of an inch of wood off too, which will hopefully make the plane even a little lighter. But some spots where it's hard to get a razor started, a lot of times you can just peel up a piece. Not always, of course. And some places like we don't want to get under the glass ellipses in the wing. Now we always talk about how good the glass ellipses work. Well, here's a 20-year-old wing with a zillion flights on it and hasn't folded yet. This side of the body came right off, huh? You got all the wood off of there?
Where? This?
Yeah.
It's the same thing on the other side. It just comes right up.
Even if you make the wood a little chunk, you're going to resand the wood. You got to resand it. You're going to refinish it. So what's, just try. Freddie had the last laugh on that one. Why can't he be taking paint off? Freddie the paint remover.
Don't you? Oh, that hurt.
All right, next step is to lay out the nose here.
When we got to the airport, they were starting to believe
Okay, we got
they were
this.
really doing it.
This is ready to start doing the trimming and
we got a
shaping.
ball.
As soon as Dave is off the
Yeah,
phone,
we
we're
got a
going to
ball.
trim and shape that.
Yeah.
Get inside, hold it straight up and down, and run some glue down there.
Again, that's for sure.
But basically, when we have this done, the structure is going to be done, and from that point on, it's a cosmetic job.
$60, I think.
This will be the last one.
$59.
The last part of the structure up here in the nose.
It's actually like... He actually won. He actually won. He ended up getting some great. Yeah, no, he was real happy. He just got out of his cast, so he's finally walking again.
I think you should stay away from the fillets. Don't get out onto the fillets.
He's doing
We
great.
can blend them in with a little air epoxy later.
Yeah, he's doing real good. So, a what from Richard? Did you get the tune pipe?
Leave the fillet, and I'd be careful that the middle of this is glassed.
It's still glass, but the glass is under the tissue. And
Okay.
this is still tissue.
Okay, and the fillets, I would put a whole new fillet right on top of that. Then you're safe. Because you're taking a lot of paint. This plane had a lot of paint on it. This was pre-Windy Light finishing days. Imran was heavy. It looks like it's coming right off.
Once you get a piece, once you get under
You
it,
got to get the, yeah.
once you get under it, you can
And
actually
you've got the whole stab done in the time we were
you can
talking to
run the
Ken.
blade backwards almost. You
Okay.
can just go this way.
Right. Well, that may be productive, is try to get it, then don't get it to bite.
You just push the blade.
Yeah, I see what you're doing, like lifting it off. And what I would do is don't go crazy down by the hinge lines. Just shoot a coat of primer in the hinges to seal it away from the Imran. Look at that, came right off. That's good.
See, once you get under there.
Yeah, and this, Dave, this sanded out, you can't even feel this. This feels like a brand new plane up here. And I got to carve in a block here, and then I got to start cutting a hole. This plane had no cowling originally, and we got to set the engine.
A hole in there.
Well, it worked. Whatever it did, it worked pretty well. Right, and this side, you basically could 400 sand this and tissue it. And then when you're ready to flip, you're going to do the top, then I'll do the top of this, we'll get the rest of the
I
paint
can
off of
flip
this.
whenever.
No, I want to finish the bottom.
Done. I'll flip.
I want to finish the bottom, and then we'll flip to the top. Now, the other trick I did here, Dave, is where I put, this is end grain along here. So what I did is I put coat of thin CA, wipe it with a towel. Thin CA, wipe it with a towel 4 or 5 times, sand it again, and then do it with thick CA. And then you build a nice hard edge, so it's not going to be vulnerable every time some gorilla picks up the plane. And we have the market cornered on gorillas in our club anyway. And then I got to do a little carving of the blocks up here. But so far, what do we get? About 2 hours yesterday and about
What time is it now?
2 hours today. We're into this less than 5 hours, and we're going to have all the structure done in another hour for sure.
All the structure done and most of the paint off.
Well, the way this used to work is we used to be able to get the tank right in here, and I'm going to obviously get a tank because I need to try where that goes before I can put this piece in here. If you make this hole too small, you can't get the tank in and out. That's a problem. And then once that's done, I can taper everything down to that hole. As long as you can get the tank in and out, that's all you have to do. And how are you doing? You get almost the whole stab done. Whoa, man, you're going.
It's
Rocket riding right along here. Well, I don't think there's a better technique than that.
No, this is working good. Once you get the right angle.
Plus, what's good about this is we're both working. We're getting 2 man-hours per hour on this project. Boyd Coddington would be proud.
Hey,
Shush! Shush, I'll take all your buttons away.
we're doing this.
So now that we can get this in, and this, all we have to do is ensure that we can get this in and out. Now I can put this bar that goes across the top in, and that gives me more material to kind of make a swoopy scoop with, but I always have to, when I'm done, go back and check that I can get the tank in and out. You're making good progress back there, huh?
Yeah, I am. I have one little...
And of course, every step of this, we have to be able to make sure we can get the tank in and out before we get too keen about carving up this scoop. The next piece that's going on here is oversizing it so we have so much more material to pull out the front as we shape that scoop.
Basically been working with Seth.
With that roughed in, filled in the hole over here. Next thing is going to be to cut the hole out so we can take the engine in and out. Tank fits right in without any problem. That's just a rough opening. Now we want to get a motor. I guess he's got a road jet up there somewhere. And see where it's anything where the needle valve's going to line up. Make sure we can choke it, do all the fitting parts of it. Tank goes in and out of there beautifully, and this is really close to how it was when it was new. This is really getting to be an exciting project. I know it probably looks terrible on a video to see all this schmutz and stuff, but this is coming together a lot quicker than I really thought it would. And when it's done, it's going to hopefully be, there'll be a 64th of an inch less wood on the whole plane if Dave doesn't overpaint it, and Dave has a tendency to overpaint. If he doesn't decide to paint it pink or something, we'll be all set. So we got to fit the motor next. I hardened up all this edges in here with several coats of thick CA. May even put a little, once I get this done, put a little piece of carbon fiber across here or around here somehow to reinforce it. This plane has clamp mounts, so we can pretty much put any engine in and move it up and down, and we have a lot of flexibility there. But my goal was to get this section right up to, you see where this fuselage has like a curve? To get this side sanded and prepped before we flip it over, and Dave still has, well, he was busy with his boss on the phone. He's still got to get one side of that elevator done, and then we really can just flip it over and work on the other side. It's really fun seeing something like this come back to life. I mean, this plane has a long, rich history. I don't think there's anybody on the East Coast that hasn't flown this plane. One of the tools, the little rubber poly rods, that this edge here, once we get the right piece of sandpaper, seems to match right into there. That'll be handy when we go to gouge that out, when we go to do that operation. Again, I'm trying to set up all my tools for what's going to amount to be. Dave's going to try to get a lot of that out with the razor, but the last little bit, we're going to try to get that contour out with some rough paper, then some smooth paper, and then harden it up with CA when we're done. Now, when the original plane was made and we were using Super Tiger 60s, our only requirement was to be able to get a 6-ounce tank in and out of a scoop. This was kind of innovative for its time. Bob Barron made a few planes like this with what we call a no-cowl nose. It's super, super rigid and easy to make. There's no joints, no screws, no nothing. And the only requirement is you got to be able to get the tank in and out. You also have to be able to, we don't have the engine yet, we got to get Woody's road jet here. He's got the only one sitting here free. Make sure we can get the road jet in and out, and make sure the needle valve somewhere close lines up. And that part of it will be, I guess we're closing into having this part of it done. And on a restoration like this, as long as you can get one little part done, in Dave's case, he's got that back pretty well ready for sanding. I wanted to get, my goal was to get to the end of the structural work by lunchtime. Well, it's 1 o'clock, that didn't happen. And Dave's been busy with his boss, so we have to take that into account. He's got to keep his business running, and so do I, of course. But once the structure is done, once we know we can get the engine in and out the way we're going to be happy with it, then we're just going to go into a sanding party and get out rolls and rolls of sandpaper and see how much of it we can get sanded out before Dave actually has to leave. See how much we need to open this motor up, open this hole up. There's a nice brand new road jet. Fits like a glove. Oh my God. How cool is that? Fits right in there, chunky. You can get at all the clamp screws. Oh man, you lucky. All right,
Nice?
you're done. Put the motor away. That's a done deal. A tank goes in and out like a piece of cake. You don't even have to open it up anymore. See, now I can harden the edges.
I'd make it a little wide. Oh no, it dropped.
No, don't make it any bigger than it has to be.
We need a hole in the side.
No, you need to put the hole in when the motor's bolted in with clamps. You can't do that right now. If you don't have the clamps here.
Come on, you gotta know when I'm giving you a hard time.
No. Come on, sand away, baby.
I'm going.
Yeah, that's looking like that's. Now, what I'm going to do here is harden up this edge with CA 3 or 4 coats, sand it in so we have a nice hard edge. And now I'm going to try to take some carbon.
Piece of 64th ply around that thing.
Well, I can do that too. What I'm going to try to do is take a piece of carbon fiber in here and just lay it in, because this is going to be vulnerable when you land in grass especially, or using a 2-blade prop. This is vulnerable, so I'm going to lay some carbon in there. I'll try to get some 64th plywood around that edge. Maybe I'll open it up just about a 32nd of an inch.
I'd open it up a little bit more.
Because he's not real good about putting motors in and out. Clumsy is the word we're looking for.
That would be it.
Clumsy! Did I put basically a 32nd of an inch on here? Going to Dremel the rest of this out, and then make a little strip of 64th plywood just to get on that edge, and that'll protect it from, hopefully from some of the rougher pilots in our group that when they put an engine in and out, they need a jackhammer. Not the delicate people like Wendy, whose planes years later don't even have a scratch on them. They're trying to get it. See if they line it. Once this is lined up, which it is, the Venturi, it's going to be very easy to choke it. I got the same notch in there as we had originally to choke it. You'll be able to get in all the clamp bolts easily. Muffler bolts. So what we decided to do, we left a double needle valve hole so that the objective is if we ever want to put a Tiger back in just to make it nostalgic. But now we have the parameters from looking at the top, one piece of tape front and back, looking from the front, another piece here. Then we know just by going in with a Dremel tool, we can make a really good start for where the muffler hole has to be in this nose, and then we're pretty much finished. We can do a final sand out on it. How are you doing with that back there? You still pecking away at it?
Oh, it's coming.
You got half done? Yeah, okay, good. Dave found another little trick. He scooped up. Where do you get another piece, and we'll show it. He had some of it that was coming up real easy, and then just got under it with like a little spatula. What about a spackle knife?
This works great.
What is that, 64th?
64th, and I sand it
Oh, okay.
so it's,
it's like a razor then.
Yeah, but it gets a wide piece, and you just slide it.
Okay, well I got all...
start it, and you get underneath it, it just goes.
So if you want to try spackle knives, I have a load of them. You can grind them up.
Yeah.
That looks like it's working pretty good though.
Yeah.
We are ready to do a test. You want to put that motor back in here? Let's see how close we are on the alignment.
You can put it back in.
At the edge, with the edge here, we got this glued in. I'm going to flip it and glue inside of here. And then the last thing will be to block sand down that edge. And that should even make it possible for Woody to change your motor.
Yes.
You got a big piece coming up? Oh yeah, check this out. Mr. Spatula here. All right, you're getting that finish to come right off. That's really cool. All right.
And it doesn't,
now the only thing, when you sand that... Okay, but when you sand that is to be very careful.
It's thin.
It's thin. Don't go through.
I won't go through.
No, it'll be, you got to block sand it, but it'll be doable.
Sure.
And any deep dings, just fill them with that. And as this is coming up on recreation time, this is looking better than I ever thought it would. And it's very, very like the original plane.
You know what I wish I had?
So, the last step after final sanding this in, I think you can see there's a little shine on it. Just took some thick CA, wiped it with a paper towel. Just The purpose is to harden up the edges. Now, Dave, run your hand, when you get a minute, run your hand on here. You can't even feel the seams. All this is going to need now before it's doped is just the lightest of sanding, a 320 sanding. And because the wood is sealed, you probably maybe only need maybe 2 coats of dope before that gets tissued. So that part of it is, that I think is in the bank. And you're still, what, picking away at fillets back here? Oh, you got almost the whole stab done. Okay.
It's basically done. I'm just
Okay.
in the. I'm actually in the hinge joint.
Okay. And he's got a good chunk of the fuselage done. He's getting real good at stripping the paint with that. What do you find that works the best? The knife?
The knife works great, but
The number 26
that little
blade?
plywood thing works. But up here, it just didn't.
Okay.
Whatever you did on the top,
Well, there's probably extra coats of dope or something on there. Who the hell knows?
it sure stuck better on the top.
Anyway, the next thing is I'm going to try to work from this point forward, get the paint off, and then reshape. I hardened this up with thin CA. This is for all purposes a brand new area on the model. We got the cowl shaped. Wow, that's looking good. And try not to distort the shape of that canopy any more than you have to. It'll just make recarving it. It probably is thin. No, it's probably, those blocks are hollow. They're pretty hollow. Anyway, I got my one side done here, and is almost ready for the resand. Got a little more paint to scrape off there. Dave's working on, I think we're going to have the whole fuselage down to raw wood relatively soon anyway. Just takes time. This is really time consuming, but I think it's a whole lot better way to do it than with all the chemicals and paint remover, and it sure beats the hell out of sand. Sandpaper's out of control.
You can't do this.
No, with the Imron doesn't let you do it with sandpaper. There's several spots on here, in here. We're going to make a patch. It looks like a cork in a bottle, and it's just let it stick up just a little bit. I don't know if this is going to be fit. Let it sit up. Fill it with thin CA. You notice it's pretty thin, but we're going to be going over this again, and we're going to fill in all this area too. And we're about that much done, and that much done from having a whole fuselage basically back down to semi-raw wood. With patches that we had to put in the nose, going to sand this and get this done, and then get inside and make a little bit of a patch with some fiberglass inside, just so this stays a little sturdier than it is. And one of the things we have to deal with is this area here is really not nice and strong like we want it to be. So I thought I'd take, this is one of my custom tuned pipes that I made for an RC guy, because it looks like a...
Notice the guy never picked it up.
Yeah, I had to make him 3 of them before I got one to fit the plane. Anyway, we're going to get that in there, and that'll give us a nice edge on the scoop once it's fit in there, I think. Cut a piece of this off. I'll mark this with a pen. See what that'll look like from in here. It'll scoop out some air. Now once that glue dries, I can block sand that nice and flat, and that'll give us a nice hard edge to work with anyway. If you have in a nose section like this, there are hard areas. Basically this edge of a doublet is showing through, and we want to blend this in. So the easiest way is we'll take some thin CA first and just work the whole edge. Let that soak its way in. Wipe it. What we want is the wood around the doubler to be just as hard as the wood if possible. Now, the last thing is this is the thick CA to slow drying. Don't hold the napkin or the towel too long in one spot. But just by hardening up the wood, it's going to allow me to get that a nice blend between the doubler once that kicks, we'll let it kick for a few minutes, do the other side, and we'll be ready to blend that in. At that, now I have a fighting chance of blending that in. So if the wood was hard, soft, hard, soft, hard, soft, you have no chance at all. Okay, what Dave's ready to do now is we're going to put some air epoxy light down in there. And get it up, and then we'll smooth it out. It's in there. Okay. You could put a rubber glove on if you want and just rub it in with your finger, it won't matter. I want to reinforce that as much as possible. We want to get some up around that carbon tube. Even the carbon tube is hopefully going to help make that nice and strong. Yeah, just show it as much, connect the mounts to the block in as big of a pathway as you possibly can. That'll be good. And then we'll flip it and we'll do the fiberglass work. Setting up to do the fiberglass work, I want this whole nose sticking out off the table. So you have the blanket, just lay it across the back of the fuselage. That'll keep that in place. Okay, now you got this nice and solid to work off.
Alright.
Okay, want to cut the cloth ahead of time. But the purpose of fiberglass in this, as opposed to not fiberglass in, is we really want to run the insurance in our favor that after this is tissued, and of course you tissue over the fiberglass, there's going to be a lot of times when, hopefully there's still some glue joints in there that are old or also. This will give us a little bit of an insurance policy, I hope. West Systems resin. Just paint it on, you don't have to be too fancy about it. I'd wrap it around the bottom, let the seam be on the bottom if anything. What's always easiest too, Dave, if you just draw a stripe right down the middle of the body.
That's what I started.
Okay, and then work your way from there down, or if you're working a wing to a sunburst.
That's how I did it.
Once you get it all wet, we'll card some of it off. And lastly, put a little bit of heat on it and card a little more off. I'll just minimize the amount of sanding. Now what I think we should do, because of how this is, I think we'll put a second piece from here just over the nose.
Well, if you want, you can cut pieces off of here, because these pieces have to cut off.
Exactly. But we'll just drop them in randomly. Right here, from here to here is where we want to build up a little strength. That's where you basically hold the plane while you're flipping it. And I'd hate to trust that none of the wood that's in there is not oil soaked.
It's all pretty good, because remember, I took it down to the...
It also will stiffen up this little thing. When you're landing up in New England on that grass, you're always going to be hitting that cowl unless you have a 3-bladed prop. Although if you got a Rojet 65, you'll probably just use a 3-blade, and you'll never break the cowl on. you're not having any trouble figuring this one out, huh? It's looking good.
I hope not.
Boy, I'll tell you, from this morning to now, it's a whole different thing. Now, I was thinking any place in the back, if you have terrible, terrible soft spots, just glass it. That's one choice you have. I mean, the amount you're doing, by the time you sand it off and put the tissue, you're actually saving this probably the same amount in dope to build up a substrate, so.
We'll do some glass in the back. There's definitely some spots that we'll need.
You don't have to worry about trimming that, or you just rough trimming it?
That's all I'm doing.
Okay. It's very early here, Friday morning, and Dave is still doing his thing with the finish. Now the problem here is we've tried to resolve this because it's Imron. Give me a piece of this. Let me just show people this. This really does come off. Now, I'm not sure you could do this with dope.
I don't think you
Or with thinner finishes, but it's relatively thick. This is a 20-year-old finish here. It's still pretty good. And the amount of wood that's coming off is insignificant. But the mistake that was made here, and we've learned this is what we've tried to learn anyways, the paint remover on the wing, I think, made more work than it saved. Because this way, you come down to having a raw wood tail, which can be sanded out. This is sandable right now. You could sand this down and put a finish. I think this is going to be more work than getting when you have the whole finish off. So maybe the trick is not that a lot of people have an Imron finish, but we're trying to put together some do's and don'ts on refinishing here, or restoring. But certainly, if you have a thick finish, the thicker the finish is, the easier it's going to come off. And see how he's backing the knife up? That seems to work real well. It would probably work even better if you took a knife and the back blade rounded off, so it's like a spoon.
This works all right.
Yeah, no, this is
Just going one way. It goes good one way, just because of how my hand works.
And I really wish we would have saved all the finish that came off. That would have been really. I put it all in one box and weigh it. That would have been fun to do.
Pounds.
Oh, it's a lot. I know. Well, before you actually add any finish, weigh the plane. Before you put the first coat of dope and tissue and weigh the plane and get an idea where you are.
We'll weigh it.
We're going to have this all off today. Well, hopefully most of it.
It'll be off.
Yeah, that is the technique that's seen, and we've tried a lot of different, we've used a lot of sandpaper, and you're really grinding against the tide with sandpaper. The glass is drying up. And it's always better, especially with West resin, to just let it dry a day or so, a couple of days extra. There's maybe one or two spots here where the body got a little thin, and what we did is put a lot of 10 coats of thick CA and try to seal it, but that can be fixed real easy. This is where it was cracked in the original crash. That was fixed right at the field. And I think the fill there is, I think if you can't get more than that out reasonably, we'll just make it
refill them. Yeah.
Don't make yourself crazy trying to dig in there. I'm just afraid you'll weaken it. Because the little bit that our epoxy light weighs, it doesn't even pay to worry about it. Piece of the finish. Got to remember, this was 1986 that I painted this. So you just look at this and you can see the thickness of the finish. Because it's Imron, I'm sure this is a lot of finishing material, much more so than it would be if this were Brodak dope. It would be half of this. But it was coming off one big piece at a time there for a while. Now on the parts of this that paint remover has taken a lot of the Imron off, and the colored paint, the pigmented paint. The technique that seems to work the best is to get a really nice sharp blade and just try to get a curlicue off, just like you're working in a machine shop. If you can get a curlicue off, that'll need some sanding, but it won't need a lot of sanding to bring it back, and you won't make the sheeting so thin. This is something you probably, and I'm practicing on the bottom of the ship because I'm not real comfortable yet. But you can see I'm getting curlicues off. But when I get down to here, this is a brand new plane now. There's very few spots on this where there's any oil at all, except maybe for inside the fuselage where we don't care about. And if I can get this little technique down where I can skim it off and get it to come off with like a curlicue. The trick is that I've found is the blade has to be sharp. You can't use one blade all day. You've got to, as you're doing them, as soon as a blade digs in like it did there, it hit a hard spot, you just restart it. Don't keep going down there. This is going to need a light sanding. But this looks like, it certainly is time consuming and it certainly is boring, but it's the kind of thing that if you could save a plane, as opposed to building a plane, a brand new one, wow, not even close. And if you can get a technique for just getting that skim coat off. Seems like it's best if the blade is on kind of an angle. But Dave has had some good luck getting big chunks off flat areas. Of course, on the wing we can't get, I don't want to make that wood thinner. And when we've done, finished its all lacquer or dope, of course you can use just thinner and acetone to take it off, but thinner and acetone is not going to take this off. My love is like a star, my darling, shining brightly, just because you're here. Please do not forget that our lips have met, and I've held you. As he drops the knife on his foot. Boyd Coddington would be so impressed. Junkyard Dog lives again. My heart felt this glow, only just tonight, Whoop, that was a chunk. I didn't want to take that much out. I want to just skim it off as little at a time as I can. Little technique that I've been trying to use is to hold a plane at a 45-degree angle and just catch an edge and pull up the finish that way.
Is that working?
Raw wood, baby. This looks a little better than paint remover. Nah, this you got to be careful of.
You can't take. You
got to leave the ellipses on. Yeah,
that works good.
This is fine. The tip came right off. The tip was very easy to do.
Look at that bad boy.
The trouble is you're going to hit.
Oh, you're going to hit
an area where you can't. You're going to have to do it by hand out at the trailing edge.
So what? Be careful of those.
Yeah. And you can't go back more than maybe twice because you're taking material off here. You don't want to have
That looks good.
that work for you?
No. Does it work for you?
Looks good to me.
It would work great if it was all finished already.
Yep.
Take it off and behind you the paint goes back on.
Or just roll it on. You know what? Dream on, little boy. Dream
In
on.
last place, Chris McNally.
See what kind of a mess this makes.
Great.
Okay, we recruited a master of rebuilding planes. Rebuilded Boyd Coddington's grandfather. Boyd Coddington's great-grandfather here.
Oh, God.
And we got him scraping and sanding, and For one low price. Look, we're coming down a home stretch here. I wouldn't be getting too crazy about getting all that stuff out of the hinge lines.
Why?
Just be careful. Because you're going to tissue up. You're not going to retissue in the hinge lines. Just let the paint, sand it and build it. That's not a problem. You're not going to save any weight in the hinge line. And you'll get it rougher and have to fill it. It'll be worse than if you just leave it.
Yeah.
Well, I've already taken it all out everywhere else.
Well, yeah, but I see how rough it is. Now you got to straighten that all out.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
difficult.
Yeah, well, what you want to do here is just clean them out. Clean them out with a piece of sand.
Maybe clean it up, but don't go down a real wood. Then it gets rougher than hell.
No, just clean out. Use some fine sandpaper. Just to take the dirt out.
Well, now that we have an expert in fighter rebuilding here.
Yeah, we rebuilt a few, didn't we?
We've done a few of these in the past. Hey, John's got the right idea. Just get right in there with the sandpaper. All you need to do is roughen it up.
Yeah.
You don't need to go down a real wood there, that's for sure.
Just taking the dirt and the oil out.
Right.
Well, I'm thinking that the paint won't stick to the Imron.
Huh?
It'll stick fine. You just prime it with Brodak primer. It'll be fine.
No, wish I
Get in there with a little brush. Well, I'm just trying to, put the time into stuff that we really need to do, not these extra
Take
things.
that stuff right out.
Yeah. We have to work on. I have to work on some of these areas that have their oil soaked. I'm going to put thin CA on top, a couple of coats of thick CA, and just rebuild up a skin on there. Because there's really no wood. There's really no wood left on that. That's the problem. We don't want to go down, and we're getting down to where the whole plane is almost raw wood. I guess we're an hour or so away from total plane in raw wood, which probably will be pretty nice if we can get that done today. Look at this old geezer on TV. Who is this old guy with this hat? He looks like a farmer.
He looks like he's trying to grab her.
Oh, we got almost all the paint off. I'd say we got one panel on the bottom we got to strip.
There's one,
You could take that air epoxy, John, and go right in that groove.
Yeah, I want to
Dave's air epoxying up some new fillets into the tail. Go right over. See, we can't get the paint out of that last little area, so we're just going to put a new fillet right on top. That'll make it even stronger. Just use a prop, get it embedded in. That green body putty kind of stuff. I saw some of them.
No, they're using, they're buying it at Home Depot. It's a two-part filler.
Oh. You got any with you?
No, but, no.
Here you go.
Tom
You
Niebuhr.
need to put some in?
Yeah, Tom Niebuhr was telling me about it. I haven't used it yet, but they swear by it.
Right, all you got to do is just take the prop and just scrape it off, and then take a razor after you put the curve you want in. It should completely cover up the, what I do, I take a razor and just scrape the extra little bit out of there. How many times do you think you flew this plane, John?
Oh, jeez, I don't remember.
A gazillion, huh? Name me an engine.
Everybody else has, too.
Name me an engine that hasn't been in this plane. I think the only one is
Fox
the
35.
Fox 35.
Yeah, that's about it.
Every one of the engines, I think, other than that. Unbelievable. I remember when my shop was a nice, neat place to hang out. Look at this. Destroys my shop. Do too is when you get it almost done, then just take your finger.
Wet finger.
And just smear it on. That's all.
Did you mix this right?
Fillet boy.
Probably not.
That's right. Put some in your nose.
Yeah.
See if you can breathe the next morning.
One of the guys in Dallas mixed it up, and I guess he just took a guess at,
No, they don't measure it. Or you know what some guy did? I won't mention any names. He put 2 parts that are supposed to be 1 and 1 part. Can't you tell the bigger of the 2 tubes is supposed to be the 2? A tech fillet team here. Crank it along into Filletville. one's the best, because you're going to sand it in anyway, and it sands easy, but I want to cover. I don't want to see any of that red when we're done.
Okay.
God, these gloves taste like...
Okay, here's what, while we were working, we found out there was a crack by the tail, and it looked like it might have been something that we needed to do later. Always better to put the fiberglass cloth. John's painting in some fiberglass cloth. Then we'll cover it with an aeropoxy light fillet. Once that dries 5 minutes, let them get a piece. What you do, just let it dry, John.
Yeah, dry to sand.
And then just sand the edges.
Okay, now...
Dave's cutting you a piece for this side.
Okay, yeah.
It's all ready.
You got any more...
Up onto the wood, it won't even matter. Just get...
Yeah.
No,
It's the joint that I'm worried about. I had a fixed Strager this way, and the glass held.
What kind of glass did you use?
Just what he's got.
Half ounce?
If you break that, and a aeropoxy light fillet, you're doing something. One more flap, and we have one more wing to strip, and we're basically back.
Remember Muffy's tail we did?
Muffy's tail, yeah. The Muff broke a tail.
How's he doing anyway, old man?
Terrible. He looks 100 years old.
You're kidding. What the
He
hell?
looks aged.
What the hell?
You know how some food ages well like wine, and some like a grape just he turned into a raisin. So this phase of the Junkyard Dog project, supervised by John DeTavio Coddington, looks like we got quite a bit of that off already. Look at this guy. You're making a bird crazy with this cleanup of yours. He's destroying the shop. What a guy. Oh, man. What a project. What a project.
Okay.
We can just walk it out.
You ready to start loading the car?
It's already
Okay.
loaded.
Got the aluminum wing mold.
John,
Oh, it's okay.
What Dave's going to do is make some skins up by him to complement our carbon fiber projects going on here. Oh, he's walking it. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Sure. Right.
I guess you've moved some heavy stuff in your day, huh, DeTavio?
Yeah, a little.
Some of those Falcons, man. They must have been.
some of those
They must have been as heavy as that mold.
some of those old girlfriends.
Some of those old DeTavio girlfriends, they were as heavy as that mold too.
Dirty rat.
Day out there. We looked out on the day. Last time we had our show and tell, it was the middle of a hurricane and storm.
All right, you ready?
I'll wait.
Watch him hit his head. Oh, he's smart.
No problem.
As we see, we have the last of the snow here in Windyville.
Two guys, it's all right.
We are at the end of an awful, awful winter. Probably the worst winter in history. Let's see how this guy loaded up.
Okay, which side?
Gotta put it up the right side.
Bill Hummel and Nola are on their way down here. We wanted to clean the shop up before we got there.
Now, I'll move the plane.
Okay, yeah. That'll make mince.
I would have never believed we'd get that much done in as short a time as we did. That's amazing.
All right, John, slide that forward.
Amazing, amazing.
We'll do the floor in the garage.
Yeah, we still got ice in the pond. It must have been below freezing last night. We still got the Titanic went down in the pond here. What a mess. What an awful winter.
How'd the fish do, right?
Yeah, it looks like the fish are fine. It's just that, man, just cold. This has been an awful winter.
They love that cold weather.
The pond cover that Dave made, 2 years ago? 3 years ago? Still works great.
Yeah, twice.
Party begins.
Yes.
Look at this. Good. I've been better.
Just left the ram show.
Hey, what was that?
How was the ramp show? Any good?
Full of control and stuff, let me tell you.
Water control and stuff. Everything control. Was Brodak there? Not good.
Nobody's there.
Hell with the Ram Show. 50-50,
It's all
Duncan.
cars. It's all cars.
Duncan, look, you're right at home. Look at all those foam wings, man. Got more wings here than you got.
What are we doing with this? Look at this thing.
Birds.
Look at this.
How are you? I'm awesome.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing? Did you like it?
Hi, John. How you doing?
Okay, how you doing?
Good. Hey, I came down. I seen you. Was at
These guys at the
Westover
ranch show.
contest.
And I came down with my dad. I was going to go home with him, and they said, "Oh, we're going down to Windy."
Pretty fun. They're special made motors. The 35s, low jet bar stock motors.
Right. Dusty.
Well, we were sanding. It's all dusty. Get the feather duster, John. Go dust it off so we can have a show here. Don't have to dust it. I already won the concourse. That's enough. Don't have to win twice. How many once is enough?
Once you get it,
Eight.
it needs to be laid up in a...
Notice how I knew that.
I got
number right away.
one. I got one, and I'm happy.
Yeah, one's enough. Well, I'd be happy with one. A lot of guys don't have one.
This is the B26.
That's the 26 over there. Yeah. Is your dad still building?
They're meeting...
My dad, absolutely.
Oh man.
He's got a giant scale Navajo RC that he's converting to a.
We're gonna drive down...
Electric. What's what we're all trying to figure out? These electric. I hope he can help us.
You know, get the.
We all. Everybody's interested in electric. Everybody.
Today's their last...
Walt Brownell's got this thing going already. Look, this is Hey, where's show and tell? Noel went outside?
Noel's outside.
Berserker. Wingspan 59.
Hey!
What else has he got? Oh, plans or electrics? Oh, more berserkers. He's selling these kits, so what? What do you got to pay him for these? Well, you need help?
No, I just
Don't break the rudder off that plane. God, Batavio, they'll be suing you.
Oh, hey, he got this. Wendy, he got this thing nice and light.
I like it. I like it already.
Nice and light.
Annual show and tell at Wendy's. Ballerina kit. Is that for Estella?
It's for whoever wants to.
Estella just had twins, you know. His son, yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Not him. His kid.
Glenn, when are you going to build something that good?
I don't know.
Notice how he had that answer right on the tip of his tongue.
That shows with a windy kid,
I've seen this ad.
the good wood. This is 60. This is just under 60 ounces. Everything on it.
Under 60?
60 ounces.
Wow, maybe we shouldn't give it to Shiano. We'll just keep it. Well, we'll see how it flies. If it doesn't fly good,
What's it weigh when
you ever see one of those that didn't? No.
Everything all up.
You're wasting your time.
59 and a half. Everything.
59 and a half with the motor and everything, all the hardware?
You put a little tip weight in it, you know, we're gonna be over 60, but it's
Wow.
a nice kit. This was the laser.
I just talked to Mark a half an hour ago. He is psyched to go fly this today. I said, ain't happening, baby.
Nah.
That is a nice looking, the paint's even nice. Kawasaki green shows up good in the air.
He's a green guy.
I guess so.
Midgely's got a Kawasaki motorcycle now.
Nah.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
He's so jealous of Bobby Hunt, he's going to challenge Bobby Hunt to ride across a sand pit. He's got a dirt bike.
Hey, we just talked to Bobby Hunt at the
Was he at the show?
He's got 62 more Billy Woolridge articles that he's going to publish in Model Aviation
Great.
over the next 27
Great.
Right, so-
Great. And Glenn will buy every one of them.
No, it's gonna be in the magazine.
Yeah, forget about it.
What's in this?
I can't help it.
Oh my God, that's unbelievable. Fabuloso. Look at this. Unbelievable.
It's light, it's straight.
It really came out nice. Bill, I'm impressed. They really
Got a
did
nice
come out
Tiger
nice.
60. He wanted all green. That's what he wanted.
Yep.
So, keep it
No,
simple.
it looks, it's going to show up well in the air. That color always shows
I'm
up
not
well
sure
in the
what
air.
level he flies at. You know?
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But I said, look, this is a world class.
No, he knows how to fly the pattern and everything. He's not,
Okay.
he's not like, like crashing planes and stuff.
Okay.
Like me? I don't know.
That looks fine to me.
I've been watching videotapes to remember how to fly the pattern.
I remember the last time I saw you fly. It was that
really does look good. It really looks good.
You were flying Jerry.
Kit built, he built it for a customer, which anybody interested can contact Bill. He builds planes for people, complete, delivered, and in this case, if it wasn't snow out on our field, we would even test fly it for him.
And I got rookie of the
But,
Yes.
I mean, it flew absolutely
it's
great.
right out of the kit box.
flying airplane.
Again.
Bill Hummel's good friend, wasn't it?
Is this a real Thunderbird, or did you improvise
No, it's
this?
a big Thunderbird.
The big, the 60 size one, yeah.
Size Thunderbird. It's got the foam wing with the.
And it's got Johnny's wing.
Yeah, it flies great.
Woody's got one, yeah.
He's got the foam wing with the fake cap strips and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, just for the record, you're building how many a year now?
20, 30.
I don't know.
You know what you should have done? You should have bought all those Arf Noblas. Don't tell me that. Then sell them as if they were handmade.
I stripped all the on, put on, I tissued it. They saw it this
Yeah,
morning. I rebuilt the front end.
Zambelli did the same thing. He made like a kit out of something's already built.
Yeah. I mean,
Not sure I really go along with that.
You know. So,
But a kit gets you back in the air in a hurry. And the Brodak ones look great. They
Really?
look like they're ready to go.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a lot to improvise.
Right down the road of those.
Yeah. They're done. They're already flying them down it. They don't have them for sale. Zambelli's been flying it, and he took. What did
Which
you?
one?
The Cardinal.
Oh, the ARF.
The ARF, the Profile Cardinal. Yeah.
Wow.
And he must have orders for 200. I have orders for about 40 already.
Do you really?
I don't want to take deposits because you know what's going to happen. They're going to be sold out, and then I'm going to have unhappy friends.
Yeah.
They're coming though. They don't fool around in China. It's not like
Never mind.
when you sign up at China and you show them a check, they jump right on it. There's no waiting around.
Whose airplane is this?
It's Doug Benedetti's
This
now.
yours? Bill, this is yours?
Doug Benedetti's now, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Steve, do you still have all your planes?
Nope. Len Harding has all
I
my...
was going to say Len Harding has most of them.
Yeah, he's storing them for me,
I'd be willing to bet you we could make a trip to his house and get every one of them back.
but I have to give him cash. You know how much money I'd have to give him?
No. But
Just
you know
as
what?
much as he gave me.
I bet you I could get one of them back for you for free if you name which one you want.
Hey, nicely
He thought that was a good deal.
I'll get it back for you.
Well, you never have to worry. I know Kayla's got a whole fleet of Billy Woolridge replicas over there. How many do you have now? The truth.
Two. Actually, I'm doing
That's enough. That's more. That's more than I have.
I heard.
And I made a deal with both. Oh, am I on tape now?
Yes. Yeah. Tell us all the story. You should tell people because a lot of people know you've been sick and that you've recovered, but you look pretty. I'd put you.
Like the hair?
I'd say screw the disability. Just go back to work. I have a feeling he's milking it. In fact.
It'll come back. I've lost 40 pounds.
Wow. I only lost 10 from my operation.
The reason I'm standing here is because I was in good condition when this crap happened. Back at the end of the year. I was working out for a year and a half. I was about 205 pounds.
And how about Scotty? Is he in good shape?
I haven't seen Scotty for a while, but he's still in good shape. I'm kind of following behind him. He and I used to. I was nostalgia on the way down. I was telling everybody how many cigarettes and cups of coffee we had by the time we got to Paramus.
Oh yeah, when you guys came down, forget it.
Terrible.
Forget it. The van got nicotine poisoning. The van had to be taken in for a lung transplant. A seat transplant.
But I'm following behind him in a way. I mean, he quit smoking, gained a lot of weight, started working out and losing weight and doing all kinds of stuff.
Is he back like?
He's riding bikes again.
Yeah, he's still riding bikes. Yeah. Beautiful. I'm not doing any Iron Man anything.
So I quit smoking 6 years ago, gained a lot of weight, decided to do something about it, took it off.
Yeah.
All that. And then along comes June, and I got these lymph nodes popping out of my neck. And it took them a month and a half to figure out what I had, and so I've been through radiation and chemotherapy.
But isn't it fun looking at those old videos? The 91 Zap machine. Was it 91?
91 was the first one.
I remember.
Oh, the second one, the Jaguar. It was the first time I saw that thing fly on your videotape.
Okay,
you just sent me from Garden State.
Cool. I dug around. You don't know how many tapes I had to dig through. Karen said, "What are you doing up there all night?"
Any trace of abuse?
You got any buttons, Steve?
No, I got 4 cats at home. I'd like to meet him.
He loves buttons. He's taken every button off my work clothes. I have no buttons left.
You lost your buttons.
I lost my buttons. You got the guy's name and address that makes the kits?
I'm trying to find it here, Wendy.
Okay, let's give him a plug on the video. There's a ballerina.
It's
Little tiny green.
Wow, looks really nice.
yeah, you nice show, man.
Yeah. Okay.
It's Bill Sawyer. He's on the internet. Wind Dancer Models.
You got his address? Give me that box for a second, John. I always like to give these guys a plug.
We were golf members there in '97, and I played.
I want to see the canopy. See if it's better than Midgely's canopy.
Oh, the canopy's nice.
Canopy's gorgeous.
Okay.
Canopy's gorgeous. It's got all the molding into it.
Very nice.
It's blue lights and all that crap. Because it was
Very nice. And that is what the real one looked like, an air coupe.
Leather fillets.
Okay. And the ribs are all sliced.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Brodak Hardware. Here's the key to a successful kit. Brodak Hardware.
Don't distract them. You fill up your car.
you really went all out on this.
That's real. The wood feels great. Feels like excellent wood. Wow. Real nice.
Yeah.
because you have to mix it and I have to go
Yeah, that stuff
quick.
is.
Wow. Unbelievable.
So I have epoxy light and I'm not sure if it's any good.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, not bad. I think
Not bad. That looks
it's not
excellent.
laser either. I think it's all razor cut.
No, it's not laser. It's not burned.
No, it's not laser cut, no.
No, that looks great. It's an excellent kit. The canopy is nice. That's the whole thing on a ballerina.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Without the canopy, a ballerina is nothing.
This stuff is nice because it lays out
That's what a ballerina is supposed to look. I even have one on my model
more
railroad.
solids inside.
Do you really? Yeah. This is
Johnny's? Oh, Estello. Oh, that's right. Les made some changes to the plane.
I got so much wood. I went through all my wood. Randy sent me some of this airplane. I'm building this little, it's a Fox 35. Okay.
I'll have plenty of information for the stunt news column now that I know what you guys are all building.
I'll give you twice as much. You got the cover. And we'll pay you when you submit.
Jerry, pull some masking tape off there, can you?
Yeah. Now Mike's gonna pick this up as is.
As is, yeah.
Ready to be covered.
All right.
Is he gonna fly again?
So do you work a real job too?
He'll fly it by. You know?
That makes sense.
I'm impressed.
He's looking for something.
It takes a lot of time, doesn't it? When I used to do this for...
Firefighter.
Whoa.
It's fun, about 10 months in a year.
Yeah. Then this ain't the 2 months.
Those cold months. We had a 3-alarm fire one night. It never got warmer than 10 below zero.
Oh.
Coats froze so solid.
Oh.
Took the coats off and it was all like little teepees.
And you're wet.
And you just, yeah, it was working.
Oh, man. All right, now let me see. You got the little ball links on the bottom of the wing.
Yeah, he wanted these trim tabs.
Yeah, that's
on
a
the
good
inside
idea.
and the outside.
Yeah, that's a handy trim tool.
Hard point into the.
What'd you put, a dowel in there or a piece of
dowel.
plywood or, okay.
Yeah, Scotty Smith used to do that with his
Yes,
towel.
I remember Scotty had that. And these are fine for just
This old Scotty Smith foam wing. It's the Genesis 46.
2 months ago.
good wing.
Foam wing.
Yeah, good wing.
This is a
One of your
Okay, and a ball link thing.
one of
Okay.
your bell cranks.
Yeah, Wes is using these.
Your
now.
horn, the ball link. Yeah,
That's Wendy's.
yeah.
It's actually a
Mildred Index says we have the technology for ball links.
No, we don't.
And they almost
Noel has the technology.
never fall apart, so.
Right?
never.
I raised
Yeah.
2 blue
So it's
jays.
nice.
We're not even going to go there, Noel. You're not pulling me into this argument.
Well, Tom Morris, he makes the whole system.
He wanted a big,
They would,
big tip weight box.
Okay.
All right, now those little things, the protocols are just a little bit.
Yeah, well, they're for 35 size
Yeah, a little
planes.
tight. So you can fit the big piece of lead in here. So anyway, that's what he wanted. Central Hobbies.
So he uses my horn and a ball link. I got that.
Yep.
And is that a windy bell crank in there, or are you one of yours? Oh, it's one of mine.
It's 20 years.
Okay.
It's 20 years with the Central Hobbies.
Okay.
That's already
Yeah.
what do you call it? The pitchfork or the
Forked end.
forked end? Yeah.
and he
Oh, yeah.
raised it.
I like the masking tape hinges and saving all that money. Saving all that money on buying IM hinges. That could really be a saving.
Yeah. It cost the hinges.
Fabulous. Fabulous.
I tried to explain to Mike how I like to do foam wings. It's got the light ply
Yes.
spars in there.
And you got the ellipse glasses?
I always put an ellipse.
Right.
It just spreads out the force. I've never had a problem with foaming that way.
Nope.
Guys don't do that, and then they crack them. Just put
Oh, they crack them, believe me.
put the tape around the joint is not enough. You gotta have the.
Ask Bob Barron. He could have been the world champion if he would have glued the middle of the way.
pounds.
Yeah.
On one of those.
Finding light wood is a challenge.
It's challenging, boy.
It's too heavy.
The 400 way too.
I'll tell you what's challenging, finding mediocre wood.
There's a lot of weight.
It's gonna be my stuff.
It's Mike Costello. I think he's with his twin girls now.
What's this for?
Mike's had his first 2 grandchildren.
It's a Genesis clone, fly model, 1973 or 74, I think.
Okay.
That was all.
Yeah. Alan Seacat.
Yeah.
Does that name ring a bell?
Yeah, it's Alan Seacat's plane.
Size engine?
10 times stronger than
It's a 46. A 40 is,
bulletproof, 4651, I think.
Why all this crap?
I'm still
Just in
using
case you didn't build square?
no, Bill wouldn't. Bill would. You know what?
Customer wanted.
Here's what happens. When you put these on a plane, guaranteed you'll never tweak a
That's
flight.
right, that's right.
If you make adjustable lead outs, guaranteed you'll never, wherever you paint the plane, the paint will be right there. That's right. That's right.
It's just a...
We were laughing about, we were stripping this Tradition,
Oh,
and this has a little piece on here, and it's all set in the angle it belongs in. I did it 400 times and then glued it. I said, "Oh,
Yeah, tradition is all back to raw wood.
Is it raw wood? It's in the back of the truck.
The nose.
The nose is glass, couple little repairs.
I got the 400
You know what it looked like before, right?
Yeah.
I took it home a few months ago.
This is it, you know?
Took the inside of the nose all apart, stripped it down to the doublers, cleaned the doublers, rebuilt the whole inside, started stripping the paint off.
Just the red one?
Yeah, brought it
The
to
20 pointer.
Oh, yeah.
No,
No, the red,
I'll tell you. Tradition.
Tradition.
The glue.
86.
For Coast Rod, so.
Put it up on the table, the smoothie, and then we'll go for pizza.
Room up there?
Yeah, put it up here, baby, put it up here. Put that stuff in the back, those shirts.
Put the smoothie there, man. All right, Mike.
These, by the way, are bulletproof carbon fiber. Oh, they're not. Sorry, Mike.
It looks good.
So you have any pictures of the twins?
No.
No pictures yet? On the internet? I was expecting to get internet. I was going to send you a picture of the twins.
Send you pictures.
The different twins that you've been sending me.
You erased the pictures of my airplanes that I sent you.
Just put an extra little piece of tape and you get it ain't so much.
Two for the price of one.
You know what I'm saying? You don't just have
Tell them the story, Mike. This is the old smoothie
This
from...
airplane's at least 25 years old. Cool.
It's older than tradition. This is actually older than tradition.
Just got the last coat of
Brodak finish?
Brodak, yeah.
Okay. Canopy you fogged in with pearl, some
I
kind
painted the canopy from the inside out, and then I didn't like the way it looked, so I fogged some silver from the outside.
Okay.
And I left the little tape stripe there.
All right.
And now I like it.
Well, that's good.
Which means I'm tired of working on it, and it's done.
Have you seen Mike's hookup with the?
Mike.
Yeah, this works great.
He mounts a pipe stanchion on the ceiling.
That's Doug Benedetti.
That's Benedetti's idea.
Iron pipe.
Yeah, works
Iron pipe
great.
comes
You
down.
put a flange
The
on
hunting
the
hangs from the
ceiling,
ceiling.
and then you put the concrete pipe in it.
It's like a universal, you can move it
What
around.
happens when you keep moving the airplane around and you're ready to spray them?
And it drops. You gotta count how many times you walk around.
I would put a
You just have Hummel build you another one, that's all.
joint there, a ball like
Niebuhr has it off of the...
What does Niebuhr have?
He has it off the stand.
Oh, okay.
And the same principle. And both of us say you can turn the airplane up, you turn it this way, that way, or roll it around.
Right.
Who's got? Glenn's got that.
Byron Barker's, that's a nice thing, yeah.
Your email said, if you don't bring a project, you have to pay for the pizza.
No, if you bring a project,
So-
if you bring a plane over 25-year-old, you gotta pay for the pizza.
No, that's not what the email said.
Well, you showed me a copy, I revised that. That's the old edition. That looks nice, but you got the cowl? I mean, you refinished the cowl.
I left it.
No, I mean, you refinished it,
I made a
right?
whole new cowl.
A new block? Okay.
a really wide fuselage, isn't it?
That would have been a good plane to make a glass cowl for, because other guys are building them.
That's a wide fuse.
It's a good little airplane.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good fun airplane.
It is a good plane.
Yeah. It's a good plane.
Wallgast had a good smoothie years ago.
Oh, I painted mine just like his, except the colors are different, but that's the same trim scheme.
Same one, yeah. That's pretty much what the box is, isn't it?
You got a little rotor, Wendy?
What's that?
A little rotor someplace?
Measure the length of the wing?
Oh, you want, yeah.
Uh-oh, Noel's getting scientific here.
I let a lot of stuff go.
Did you?
Yeah.
Watch the tip of the rudder on one tip.
You're doing any cheating.
Measure inside the tank compartment.
Wow. That's 2.5 inches wide. Let's see.
It was built from a kid, and I was too dumb to figure out how to do it otherwise.
Can't read this on my
But you know why? There's no plywood. It's 2 pieces of 1/8-inch wood. Isn't that how old Vico kits work?
Yeah, there's no plywood in it.
So the body gets wider
Yeah.
by 1/4 of an inch.
Sure.
Not 1/4, by 1/8.
But a 2-inch tank fits in there just perfect.
Oh, yeah.
I like the wide fuselage.
Yeah. Where's your Berserker? You got the drawings. I saw them before.
Yeah, I got
You got it done? Is it we're ready to finish or what?
ready to start building them.
We're gonna wait for less, don't we?
Bill's building one and I'm building one.
Russ will meet us down there. George will too.
Cool. It'll be in my column this time. What did you do over the old finish? Did you?
I got it
Fight
down
over
bare
it?
wood.
Up on the famous center of Rutherford, where only weeks ago the helicopters were flying over, the train hit Frank's SUV. Right there is where he got nailed, right there.
Yeah.
There's Trackside, that's Trackside Pizza right there. You know, I was here last week, the glass is still in the street. Right here is where he got hit, right here. World famous Trackside Pizza, where we always go. Connie, you want to be on a windy video? So much for Connie.
Hey.
Okay, everybody take one and throw.
Life is good. Life is good.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And watch this. Glenn Keller is actually going to pay Look at this! Look at this morsel flying out!
Who's on the money in there? Whose face is on the money? Roman Emperor?
Oh, jeez. This is a moment in stunt history. Glenn's gonna pay his share of the bill. Whoa!
He had 10, I had 20, so I gave him my 20.
Oh, okay.
He pays that 20.
I hear a flim-flam.
Watch out for Kayla. He's the only one I don't trust.
Nothing's come out yet. Just keep
I know. He opens it, but nothing comes out.
Well, you can put me in.
He's got string on his money.
Get it or not, might be another question.
Be careful, the moths are flying out of there.
Oh my God.
That's $122.
You guys are embarrassing that dinner with.
Way too much.
How much money?
This is Frank's car from. How do we describe this? A train hit a person? I got that on my video. I didn't even know it was you. No, it doesn't say idiot. Unlucky day. Frank,
My lucky day.
with the smell of liquor on his breath, drives into a
Friday
train.
the 13th.
Is that your car?
Well, Frank, we'll see you in 2 hours for supper. That's drug deal in my neighborhood? What do you think this is, a ghetto, you guys? Doing a drug deal. Look at this roll of money this guy's got. The only guy supposed to make money in this neighborhood is me. What's this? Look at this beautiful neighborhood. I got these drug dealers selling drugs. Come on, we're going to see if we can get $1 out of Glenn Kaler's wallet. Come on. Out of Glenn Kaler's wallet. Oh, no.
It's over here, Steve.
Yeah, that's the
Clever guy.
Right. Where's the mold? Right there.
What was it that he was stealing from you when you were building, and you couldn't?
All the parts, the tank, the bolts, and he steals everything. He's not real fussy. So when are we going to see the Berserker? The SV Berserker.
I can't believe it's
That looks pretty cool. Where's my Berserker? Where's that profile Berserker we have? The electric Berserker.
You put it away here somewhere.
Somebody stole it. That's what happens at Wendy's.
Wendy, do you have any timetable for that?
The end, a perfect show and tell. You take out the Walker Cup flyoff footage and look at Brian Kiefer getting whacked at the end of it. Look at Gruber, he wasn't even 9 feet tall there. Wow.
Yeah, look at him. He's only 5 feet or something.
He's 9 feet tall now. He's bigger than Yum Kim or whatever that Houston basketball player is. Young Chung or Chung Young or Yao Ming, Momo. Watch this, watch this.
This is Bob Rock, world champion.
Yup. Give him a Windy video shirt. He's trying to laugh, but it's killing him inside.
Revenge, he gives me the Billy Rose.
Yeah, if you can't sleep at night, just watch these. Oh, man. This was fun. I got $100 worth of videos for a t-shirt. This is why he went out of business. Look at this. He's giving me the whole truck. Oh, man, this is so bad. Hey, I'll give you a gallon of fuel, too, Wendy. Oh, my God. Did you make this up, Mike? You can't make this up. Hey, here's 10 more. Yeah. Yeah. And you like listening to Busso as you doze off. Here we go. Look at this. Watch this. They're all checking him out.
Okay, there's a crowd there.
There's Brian. We're duct taping him to a pole. We took crap from him all week long.
Now, is he smiling at one?
No, he hates. There's Ashford. We were going to duct tape Ashford. We didn't have enough duct tape.
That's me.
That's Midgely duct taping Brian. Look at this mummy.
Wasn't Kiefer a protege of yours?
Up to this point he was. Oh man, he was lighting fireworks off all week long. We had to get even with him. Oh yeah, he liked having his legs done. Oh my God, this was so bad.
How fast did somebody come up with shaving?
Oh, you'd be amazed. Everybody had shaving cream.
Suddenly everybody's hair.
Oh, they gonna cut his hair?
Where? Right here? Tighten it up a little.
We loosened it up a little bit.
You got the shaving cream, Christine?
Yeah, Christine has the shaving cream. Look at this. Oh no! Now look at the people that aren't even with our group. They're up on a balcony cheering us on, like the Romans here. Look at this. You believe this? John, bet you want to go to the Nats next year. Look at Midgely, of course, is taking the lead role in this whole thing. They have a makeup kit.
Gotta tape his head back.
Ashford comes into view. Oh, Jesus. Chickie's even liking this. This is the true spirit of model aviation. This is what keeps us a family. Oh, jeez. Oh, she's put eye makeup on him? He spits on her, yeah. Oh, she got even with him now. Jeez, I can die watching.
She's putting
Payback, Brian. Setting fireworks off by the motel all week. Oh my God. He loved every minute of this. This was his 15 minutes of fame.
His father was not happy.
We were going to do it to his father.
They had run out of clothes. He didn't have any more clothes.
Where's his father? Who's his father?
Oh, they shave and cream to me.
You throw him in the pool after this?
You didn't have to. He was pretty messy when we were done with him. Oh my God! Look at this! Oh! Oh God! Steve, you got to admit this is worth the price of admission.
This is the national champion.
This is how we congratulate him for being a national junior champion.
Was he?
Oh yeah. Well, today, believe it or not, we have some warm weather, and we're going to take this old garbage can, and there's a clock. Karen's bringing down a clock. We're going to do some antique refinishing on this. Just what I need. Another delay in Bomber Command's. Let me see the clock. Now look at this wife. How could anybody not want to be married to this wife? Look at it. She has my coffee. Let's see what dumpster did this come out of?
This is Stacy's.
All right, now what are we going to do with
We're
this?
going to refinish it.
A total refinishing job.
Yeah.
Well, Martha Stewart's in jail, so maybe you can get a job opening here.
I'm hoping.
Look at a nice quick coat of white on there. That's starting to look nice.
Yep.
Now, no idea. Whenever Karen plans one of these projects, it's a complete mystery. And Bomber Command just has to put all the planes in a hangar while she takes over the shop.
Definitely.
Karen hasn't discovered yet that you could actually buy furniture that you don't have to refinish. You actually can buy it in a store. It's ready to put in your house. You don't have to go through this mess.
How boring would that be?
This isn't even for our house. This is for our kid's house.
Ivory. Do you have any ivory paint? Two, maybe three coats.
This is for Stacy?
Yes, in our kitchen.
Notice what a nice masking job she did. Bomber Command's blue masking tape being used for illegal purposes.
Sorry for the pro.
All my paint for the train layout being used for furniture refinishing of all things. So you had enough paint to put that first coat on?
This is the second coat.
Second coat?
Second coat, and I'm just about out.
Boy, oh boy.
Just about out of paint now. Scraping the bottom of the can. Okay, this has to dry before I sponge paint.
I think where this is right here, we should put a B25 cowling instead of a clock.
I'm sure Stacy would love it.
I don't think so. Now, just take the rag and wipe it off. Let's see what it looks like. Now, you're going to have to, what you have to do is take Windex. Now, don't take another towel. Another towel's not going to do
You got
it.
it in the wrong spot.
Get on the whole thing. Do the whole thing at once.
No, see, look what happened. It got light blue in there. That's not what I wanted.
Okay, but look, if you take Windex, that'll come right off.
It's not coming off. I'm going to spray it with Windex right now?
You may think it's crazy painting bombers. She just never quits. So she's so talented, she mixes her own paint, real my railroad paint too. Now you want to take probably some little pieces of sponge to get in those little corners.
Yeah, I'm not ready for that yet.
Okay. Well, Chicky, you're on the camera. Get this bird. Get. Yeah, that's going to look nice when you get that all done. And then we got to put a clear glaze on it, right?
Yes.
Do we have any of that clear glaze?
Yes, we do. We always have glaze.
Okay. Now, once Karen retires, and that's going to be, what, about 11 months, then she's going to open her own business so that I can retire and I can become a full-time bomber pilot. Should I hold my breath?
Yes.
I don't think so. Yeah, well, Karen is working on her craft stuff, her endless supply of craft projects. We got these from Walt Brownell today. Now, Walt has been pursuing the idea of building an electric stunner. I'm going to read these off. This is a really unique set of pictures. This is ready to fly except for the tail wheel and canopy. 11.7 APC prop, weight 49 ounces, span 47, area 505, flaps fixed. Now, I'm just going to go through these so you can see, because boy, we are really pursuing this. And I will pass these on. Jetty 40 amp ECS for AXI 282010 motor, not visible. Battery mount, 16th plywood. 10 cells, 2400 milliamps, NiCad battery. This is the wing underside with sealed flap hinge line, monocoat added. Obviously, Walt's making a real push to get this really in the air. I really hope this works out for him. Boy, am I excited about this. The possibility of having this in the air and that he'll be able to share some of the information. Wing removed to show belt crank mount. It looks like it's got a carbon fiber gear, of course. Now note, let's read Walt's note. Battery is not connected to ECS for safety. That's electronic switch control. ECS connected to throttle on decoder. Again, he's got electronic stuff going on here. I'm not so sure I should be thinking about electronics right now. Zetron controller without housing. Signal input, Bill Young Electronics. Again, I'm going to need more captions from Walt on this because this is getting real high tech. But I've really got, I have to tell you now, just so you know, it's not fair to Les. Les has been having real problems with his mom being very, very sick, and it's taken up the chunk of his modeling time. But Les, being the quality guy he is, has never not gone over there when she needed him. And so our electric project is kind of on the back burner for now. Outrunner motor. Now again, these are from Walt Brownell. Now Walt, for sure you're ahead of us by a ton, and I'm glad, because Walt is the kind of guy that will share this information. And You know the sad thing is when you do things like Stuka Stunt and different things like that, you always have somebody looking to shoot you down. And I'm sure, the minute you publish something, there's going to be somebody that has to one-up you. So we've chosen not to ever go on to Stuka Stunt for that reason. But for other people that do, I certainly wouldn't put them down. I just say for me it's not appropriate. For me, I'd rather share the information through the videos, and I think the people then I can limit the market, and I don't have to hear the constant criticism that you hear. Anyway, from Walt Brownell, I really hope we're going to see this soon, or maybe even at Brodex, and we'll get a flying report on this soon. Again, in today's mail from our friend John Hatt in Canada, Nova Scotia. A ship that he's building. Remember, he has already built a Miss Ashley. And no captions on these, but we'll just run through them real quick. John has the hobby shop in Halifax, Maritime Marine. Seems to look at more windy videos than me, so we kind of chat on the phone once in a while too about the ongoing projects. Anyway, I wish he would have sent more of a caption. He just says these are a few pictures of the new ship and a couple of shots of the new Mustang. Well, we like to see them all. This has a lot of the look at the Miss Ashley, obviously. And one of the things that I always like to see is people's workshops. I don't know, it's just something about people's workshops. I guess I'm a voyeur or something. I love to see how people have arranged their shop. We'll see shops like Zambelli's that actually inspire me and make me want to improve my shop. Anyway, from John Hatt, absolutely beautiful. And we look forward in a couple of weeks to seeing the plane in paint. Anyway, thanks for those pictures, and we're going to continue following Karen in her ultimate quest to own every craft project that you can imagine. All her stuff's drying in the back room. We're going to continue working on a bomber. We have to tissue up those nacelles, get them in filler. And of course, we're looking forward to next week. There's supposed to be a break in the weather. Maybe we actually can get some paint, or even better, get some flying, which Oliver already has our magnums, I don't know what he calls them, roll mags, mag jets, I'm not sure what they are. We're going to be getting 2 brand new engines and possibly have them for use in the B-25 and for the A-26. There's something brand new that's coming out, and we'll be getting the first ones, the first production ones. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope you've gotten some good ideas. Hey, and poor Brian Kiefer, we really do love the kid. We really abused him. But we really had a good time too, and even he had a great time at that Nats. Don't think we left him there too long. He was there less than an hour. And boy, this is going to be one of our next projects. We're really looking forward to it. There's so many projects, including that electric plane. Just have more. There's just stuff everywhere here. This is the busiest winter I've ever had. And don't forget, we'll be going to the World Championships. We will be shooting every possible flight we can get. And we'll see you on the next tape. Let's hope the weather's going to break soon. We have a lot of work to do that we're going to need to do outside. The finishing, the spraying, sanding silver, some dissertations on silver, tissuing, all coming up on the next tape.